So this is our first week back on the road after we kind of had a month off when we were staying with family in Utah and Idaho. And this last week was our first week getting back into it.
First we went to South Dakota and we saw a couple national parks there.
Yeah, we went through the Black Hills, which we both fell in love with. It was beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely would consider moving to the Black Hills in South Dakota.
Except for it's freezing, so probably not.
It would, doesn't even matter. So while we were in South Dakota, I was flying my drone at one of our campsites and didn't quite align my drone right. I sped right into a tree and crash landed. And I thought it was fine until I brought it out a couple of days later. The swivel action on the drone doesn't work anymore.
Wind Cave National Park!
We really loved Wind Cave. We felt like we got to experience the whole park rather than with some of the larger parks you just feel like you're barely scratching the surface of it. And this one just felt really intimate and like we were a part of it in a more intimate way.
Going through the tunnels, we were able to see some interesting forms in the rocks, some called box work, which I had never seen before. So it was really cool to see that. And a long time ago, the cave was actually underwater.
Old water.
Yeah, it used to be an ocean, huh?
This is Badlands.
My favorite part about Badlands National Park was just learning about the geological history of the area and the many phases that the land has gone through to get to where it is now.
Right, you could see several layers in the rock formations, and each layer had its own story. And one cool thing about the park is that the park encourages free roaming, and you can go anywhere. And one thing really neat is that a lot of the fossils found at that national park were found by ordinary people, kids, adults, it didn't matter. They were just out there exploring and were able to report their findings to the National Park Service and brought those fossils in, and it was just really cool to see the community contributing to the park.
I felt like Badlands had the best visitor center. It had a fossil area for the kids to look at real fossils and a paleontologist working on the fossils. We also had a pretty neat campsite. We met a lot of other full-time families there and full-time travelers. And so we really loved being able to feel a part of the community a little bit more this time. And learning about other people and why they decided to join the same journey that we're on.
When we were done with South Dakota, we drove north and we got to go to a park called Theodore Roosevelt National Park, and we really love Theodore Roosevelt and what he was able to contribute.
My favorite part about Theodore Roosevelt was being able to go to the Petrified Forest. We hiked, it was about 1.5 miles in, and we had an awesome moment when we were out in the prairies and all you could see was grassland for miles, and there's no other people out except for us, and we just kind of took a second to take it all in. We put our faces up to the sun and spread our arms out wide, and we just kind of enjoyed that solitude of the grasslands. And then we kept going to the Petrified Forest. It was neat for us to be able to see those tree stumps that turned into stone and to feel them and to experience that. So I think that was probably the most exciting part for me. It was my first time seeing a petrified forest, and so that made our trip to Teddy Roosevelt worth it for me.
shinies inside of it?
These are ancient trees from long ago. It's cool, right?
So today we made it through the long stretch of North Dakota. We are here in Minnesota, which is actually my home state. I'm excited to be back here in the land of 10,000 lakes, although we did relearn that we need bug spray here.
Definitely.
Kind of the dry atmosphere, where we've left that, we're definitely in the muggy, bugginess of Minnesota. But we're going to be hanging out with my family this week, and we're going to be checking out Voyageurs and Grand Portage, which is going to take us to Isle Royale National Park, the two national parks here in Minnesota. Stay tuned for the Minnesota adventures.